Hey everybody, welcome back to our Champion Sons and our Let's Play Planet Zoo series, where we are working on basically, it's kind of like an African section of the zoo. That's kind of the new area we went on. Now, I did skip some of it. There was a whole other episode planned, but one thing about that is we literally change here in a minute, and you'll see it happen. Change everything that we did in the previous episode for the most part. We will change all of that up. So I figured, why show that and then delay it and show this later on? I figured, you know what, let's just go ahead and show more or less closer to what the end product would be. And now, why did I change it? You may ask yourself that question, and it would be very valid. Okay. Mainly, I wanted to have kind of an indoor viewing area, which is what you see me kind of working on right now. Kind of measure that up with the walls and all that, so I can actually slide a door in there. And these habitats, they are African animals. So you kind of see the wall to the one on the top, on the left right now, which is for elephants. What I'm building right at this very moment is for giraffes. And so when I say things completely change, you'll see it really does completely change. Everything was starting to seem a little too boxed in, and I understand that, you know, in a zoo, yeah, you're going to have the habitats probably are going to be fairly well boxed in. I get that. I really do. But I wanted these habitats to be more open, I guess. And so as I'm kind of building these out, you'll kind of see me make the changes to really have it more open viewing, which I really do think is more guest oriented in the end, right? I think that's something that guests would prefer to have over basically over stuff that's really kind of enclosed and all that. And so I wanted it to be kind of an open concept. And that's one thing, you know, I really think about Austin in general is we would go with, if we actually had a major type zoo, especially with the viewing areas, it would definitely be a fairly open idea. And so everything that we're doing right now is kind of leading to that. A lot of what you're seeing right now even is going to change. This is for giraffes at the moment, so it's one of those things that, you know, as you build these zoos, as much as you may think you're done with a habitat, you never really are. It's kind of like it's basically a living thing. It's going to be constantly changing at all times. And so even at moments as we come closer to this, saying, hey, maybe we got something going here, maybe we're a little bit done with this, we change things up at the last second. And you know what? I would rather do that, create an environment that I think people would really enjoy and that the animals would really enjoy as well. So that's kind of the motivation behind being so willing to essentially change things up so quickly. And right now, this is more of a African area, right? And so that's why you're going to see kind of some of these buildings come in. Yeah, they are going to be more plaster buildings. I have never been to Africa. All I know is my parents have, and a lot of the pictures that we saw from there, as far as building wise, is you had a lot of those plaster kind of buildings, and definitely some of the wood ones, right? So, well, they were on their safaris and all that, staying out, basically, I guess you'd say in the savannah, and I don't know, in the dry lands where all the lions and jaguars and shit are. You know, yeah, the housing is more wooden, but I mean, good Lord, they're not back in the Stone Ages, for Christ's sakes, you know. So you do see a lot of plaster stuff, a lot of plaster buildings, some really more intricate artwork, which definitely want to try to incorporate in here. And I'm, you know, how I mentioned these things were kind of like living, breathing areas. A living area. I'm sitting here looking at this right now as I'm watching this playback, doing this voiceover, and I can already see things that, and you haven't seen the end product of it yet, but I can already see things that I know I want to change at some point down the road. Might go back in there and do it. Now these giraffes, y'all know how I mentioned how I operate in the last episode when putting habitats together. Is I really want it to be geared towards the animal. Yeah, I've got the welfare off, but and so technically I could just about build dang near anything that we wanted to build as far as a habitat. However, I do think any zoo in general would go with what's best for the animal, and it's stuff that they generally do like, and so that's kind of the concept that we were going with here. Space wise, surprisingly enough, it's a decent amount of space for the giraffe. I didn't think it would be, and as I look at it during this playback, it's kind of shocking that it is, but hey, it is, so I'm not going to complain about that, you know? I'm just not. Now, as far as my enclosures inside the habitats, y'all know I like to kind of have them enclosed so that you can have the space for zoo staff to work with the animals and the animals to go whenever they're kind of a little tired of being around people. That was a big deal that I think just about every animal should have, is that opportunity to kind of get away from them, but also, you know, have basically that safe space. And as people going to the zoo, in reality, we don't need to see them 24/7. Yeah, it's great to be able to see them, but if we're not able to because they're inside, they don't want to be out, so be it. That's just the way of the world. I mean, good Lord, you know. Um, that's why I build these enclosures this way, is to give them a little bit of that privacy for some of these more skittish type animals, elephants, giraffes, you know. So I mentioned things changing, and if you'll notice now, my elephant habitat doesn't have really the walls that it used to have. So the game is on pause while I moved all this stuff so people wouldn't freak out, you know what I mean? And so that's just redoing it. I wanted it to be more open, so I am moving stuff out of the way, putting in this little not divot, but kind of a little crevasse type area, to really kind of seal off some of this while providing these open spaces, right? Now, one problem I did have with this is for some reason in that one corner, no matter what I did, no matter what it was, it said that there's always an escape part right there. I could never really figure that out, so I had kind of a drastic solution. I'm trying with all the rock work that I could try to block off different areas where, you know, they could try and tiptoe their way there, for God's sakes. And nothing really worked in that end, so I had to take, like I said, some drastic measures. The water area where you see them at right now, that is going to actually move. And what I mean is I'm bringing the waterfall and everything over here. So I'm putting up these concrete kind of barrier sections because I think in building it, especially with that drop down, you're going to have a lot of man-made concrete areas. I mean, you just are. And so that was kind of my thinking on it. And just kind of bordering this before I put the wall pieces down to kind of seal that area off in that way. And I really like how it turned out now, way more than what it was before. And so in a sense, that's another reason why I really didn't want to show what happened with it before. I didn't realize how unpleased I was with that until I started redoing it. So just keep that in mind. We're redoing the elephants right now. You're going to see us redo the giraffe habitat as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to drop off here for a minute while y'all enjoy the speed build and check on things going on. If you have any comments about things you'd like to see change that maybe we could kind of incorporate out here into these new habitats, just let me know down in the comments, and we'll see what we can do in future episodes. But until then, I will see y'all here in just a wee bit. All right, and I am back, and I told you you would see a lot of dang changes going on. That's what we got working here. Move that waterfall over for the elephants. It kind of shrunk up their amount of land they could use and all that, but I think it still looks pretty good and is fairly functional for the number of elephants that we have. Now on to the giraffe habitat. Once again, their space was actually pretty decent, right? So now it's just kind of building some of the area around it, some of the things for people to look at, be able to put in some of the education boards and all of that really fun stuff going on here. This was kind of a bigger thing. Keeping with the same type of area, knowing, hey, I mean, we are in the same African style theming, animals section. So as far as railings go, I just took the same ones from essentially the elephant habitat and kind of just moved them over here to the giraffes. I think they do work out pretty well. It provides that open concept that I kind of really enjoy seeing. It provides that, hey, you can come look, you can come see, you have plenty of viewing space. No, these things are not crouched in. And in reality, they're bigger animals, right? They are bigger animals, so they're not gonna it doesn't take much for them to seem kind of cramped in there. Okay, so here we are now, kind of putting in some of the base path here. The giraffes are unlike the elephants in terms of they have a hard time walking basically on slopes. They just do. So as far as making like this little blocked in area, it was actually a lot easier for that because we didn't have to go as detailed with it. As far as the elephants, apparently they can climb incredibly well, according to that stupid escape area notice. They can climb incredibly well and get out, but giraffes, not so much. Their lanky legs make them very clumsy. And so it made putting in this little wall barrier a whole lot easier here. And we are going to also redo the interior building, right? So I told y'all about my interior enclosures there a few minutes ago. We are definitely redoing it. I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, and since we cleared out those walls, it comes out pretty dang good. I enjoy how it has it. It's a swinging gate kind of thing, kind of concept to the door to get out. We're going with the basic straw or palm thatch roofing, and then just some really kind of planks to go in to kind of hold some stuff up, add a little bit of sturdiness. But in reality, I think it serves its purpose. We will have to make one more slight little change with that on down the road. You'll kind of see why. Actually, never mind. You won't see why. Because see how that little lip hangs over? That means the giraffes cannot get out there. I didn't see that. I didn't know that. But that's what it means. The giraffes can't leave the building. Kind of disturbing when it does dawn on me that, holy Lord, these animals have been stuck in there for all that long. But, hey, it is what it is at that point. Now, I do put some of the grass and some of the planting around. These things are used to being out in the open. I guess, was it the Serengeti? But at the same time, they have to go to treed areas, Giraffes need... Giraffes need trees and all that to feed on. So you got to figure they're going to be out there. Now, we do make some of those grass reeds to kind of cover up the walls. And I think it works out pretty well. It fits into their type of theming, or I guess needs area. So I think this turned out incredibly well for what we started with to where we are now. Having that open concept, having it available to be seen, all the bright light of nature coming in. I think that turned out incredibly well here on this section. And I'm really looking forward to how the rest of this area is going to come together. I can tell you this, I've done a lot of building since this episode was compiled, And technically this would be the 4th episode, however, since I decided to not show you everything that the original of the elephant habitat and all that in too much detail. This is the 3rd episode, so I cut out one whole section of one whole episode's worth of work. And here we're looking at, I don't know, a grand total is 8 to 10 hours in total worth of filming. I've cut out a bunch of stuff, but I've also sped it up quite a bit. And that was obviously done on purpose, you know. But it takes a lot to do these episodes, especially when trying to do them right. And with the zoo the way it is, you know, I've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff already filmed that we will be putting out at a later time. But for now, you know, going this route, showing it be built in this way, I think it looks pretty dang good, and it fits what we're going to be doing here in the future. There's a bunch of stuff to still be done. Like I said, I've only got one more habitat done, and I probably got about 12 hours worth of filming recorded that's going to have to be edited and cut. So that'll be fun to do, you know what I mean? Going forward. That's why I say, if you think of anything in the comments that you want to put that could improve one of the habitats, one of the zoos, maybe make some change, one of the parts of the zoo, make some changes, put it down in the comments. Let me know. We got plenty of time to make the changes happen, okay? Nothing here is final ever. Nothing's final with Planet Zoo in general, but definitely nothing's final with our channel and how we build, okay? Some of these things you're going to see us starting to get ready to put on more of the educational type of boards up. I think I'm also going to change how we do some of that as well, as we learn more with what these boards can do, and the fact that we have custom boards now. I really didn't know that. It's been a while since I've been in this game. I forgot who it was I was watching when I learned that. So we might see what we can do about building some of those custom information boards as we go throughout. If y'all know of any good custom boards that are in the workshop or something, let me know. I'm more than willing to put that stuff in, and I'll give credit to whoever built it, so it's not going to be like just trying to take something from them, you know what I mean? Yeah, so hiding. You know, this is ideally, say, built on a college campus, right? So a lot of the pathways and everything would normally be pretty well open. And I think the basic fence works. It serves its purpose, and I can't imagine something going too far out as far as trying to hide walkways for the staff only, different things like that. Now, one thing about this area here is we do need some shading. All right, and in Austin, everybody that's either been here or lives here knows how hot it can get, and good Lord, with that concrete, with the asphalt, that would just make it dang near unbearable. So I'm trying to work on building some shading things, some little shading areas to kind of hang up on these trees so people could walk under, and to kind of hide some of those broken parts in the path. So we'll kind of see how that stuff goes in the future. We are taking a look at just adding these things in, these little shading circles, taking the planks of wood and just kind of copying them or rotating them over. They turn out pretty well. I do like how they work out, surprisingly. At first, it took a second. At first, I wasn't really enjoying them too much, but then, I don't know, it kind of grew on me. So, we'll see how they work out, if they maintain all the way till the end or not. You know, that's for a different story for a different day. Now, speaking of different days, we will have other episodes coming up, finishing off this Africa section. Got a lot more animals to go. So with that in mind, if y'all have not hit the subscribe button, I would suggest hitting that button now. And if you did like today's video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel, and I greatly appreciate everything that y'all do for us here at Champ & Sons Gaming, and everything y'all have done. The support we've seen recently has just been crazy. I can't thank y'all enough for it along the way, and I'm excited to see where we can take this channel together on that. And so with that, I am going to go ahead and leave y'all here. Now, we will have some shots of the elephants and of the giraffes coming up, so definitely stay tuned for that. That'll be happening in just about a minute or so. So with that in mind, everybody, as always, stay safe. And, well, y'all know how it goes by now, right? Later, y'all.